Hello minions, Wheezy here again, and at the beginning of 2021 I'm going to start by showing you the new PC build that I did in December of last year. And I was originally planning on doing a larger kind of build video, but I'm going to just kind of sum up what I did so you guys can see what I'm working with now and how it's going to help me improve my workflow on the channel going forward. So if you're interested in computer stuff, come check it out. Okay, so this video is going to be a little scattered because I recorded a lot of video. Matter of fact, I recorded everything that I did when I built my PC, when I set it up and configured it and all of that, which was a longer process. I ended up troubleshooting some things that ended up taking hours that were actually kind of trivial issues because I had a splitter set up for doing capture stuff. We'll get into that kind of as we go. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to split in showing pieces of the video as I was going through building my computer and getting it set up, and then I'll probably pop in with little tidbits of information to help out. I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible so it's not like a really super long one, and so it'll give you guys a lot of really good information, not just about what the capabilities of my new build are, but also kind of how I did it. So if you guys want to build a computer, this should help with that as well. And I'm going to give you some tips on something really cool that I used for this setup and that made it really easy compared to builds that I've done in the past, and some pitfalls that I ran into for the purposes of creating these videos that caused me some strange issues. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll the video where I recorded my intro to doing the build, and then when I did the breakdown and showing you guys all of the different components of my computer. So I'm going to roll that right now. Hello minions, Wheezy here, and today I'm in the Starship Enterprise. This light that I've got set up. I am going to build my first brand new computer in like 9 years. This computer down here, which you guys have seen a variety of times throughout the years, including, I'm pretty sure that's the same motherboard that got hit by the flood years back that you guys saw when I lost my video card. It's that same motherboard. It's an AMD FX 6300. Which is like a 9-year-old processor, a 6-core, what is it, like 3.5, 3.6 gigahertz processor, which even as a computer guy, I'm like, 3.6 gigahertz, that's still, even with modern processors, this new processor that I've got is like a 3.5, let's see, before I spoil it, show it to you, 4.6 boost, so it's a 3.8 gigahertz processor. So, not a huge, it's going to be a huge difference. I think looking at the benchmarks, this is going to be about, just from the processor alone, about 8 times faster than my old computer, which is now really starting to chug. I just got a second 4K monitor, and now that I've got 2 4K monitors hooked into that old machine on a 2 gigabyte GTX 1050, it's struggling. It's having a hard time even with 32 gigs of RAM in there, because obviously the RAM isn't really helping with the video rendering. That's the CPU and the GPU. So yeah, I'm going to make this video to kind of walk through the whole process, because why not? I'm going to be doing it anyway. Might as well make a video. So it's going to probably be a long one, because not only am I going to put all of this shit together, but I'm going to also kind of walk you guys through, hopefully successfully and relatively easily, porting over my existing operating system and all of my installed software onto the new computer. It's completely different hardware, so it's non-trivial. Typically, anytime in the past I've rebuilt a computer with a new motherboard, I've had to build the OS from scratch. Hopefully, with the software that I'm using, I'm not going to have to do that. So the only piece, I'll switch over and show you guys everything that I'm building with. But since I already alluded to it, the upgrade that I'm going with on the processor, which is the big thinky brain, the real big upgrade, is an AMD Ryzen 9 3900X 12-core processor. And yeah, it's going to be pretty stout. I mean, it's not like the latest and greatest. It's not a 5000 series. The Ryzen 5000 series just came out, and they're hard to find, but this is still a ridiculous processor. So I'm going to flip over and show you guys what I'm building. Okay, video, so it's a little zoomed in here, but there's all the goodness that's going to be going in there. Right now, I've got my old desktop running this backup. Not really a backup, it's creating a disk image so that I should hopefully be able to recover this entire computer essentially on to the brand new hardware. Essentially, for lack of a better term, although this software uses the term cloning to mean cloning of the same hardware, but this is my old system. Do I have? Let me drag this out of the way. Oh no, I moved it. Over here, I've got my AMD FX 6300. I mean, right now, it's not, it's running a backup, so it's using some processor, obviously, but, running boost clocks above 3800 megahertz, cores pretty much topped out there, using half my memory, and most of the video card memory is used. So I have kind of reached a limitation on what this computer will do. Not only is it 9 years old, but I bought this laptop last year, and this is a Ryzen 5 3550H. What's interesting about this laptop is it's got actually the same GeForce GTX 1050. Let me see if I can get it out of the way here. It's got the same GeForce GTX 1050 video card with 2 gig of memory. As well, it's got some shared memory in there as this one. So I didn't necessarily plan it that way, but this has the same video card and the same amount of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, as my desktop machine. But because of the Ryzen 5 3550H, this processor in my laptop has about double the performance of that 6-core 6300 from 9 years ago or whatever. So I have been doing some of my video editing. What I do is I put the videos I want to edit on my laptop, render video proxy files for Vegas so that this computer can run them without chugging, and then I come in here, edit my video, and then when I'm done editing it, I do all of that on an external SSD. I plug the SSD back into my laptop and I let this laptop render it because it will render it in near real time. So if I have a 20-minute video, it'll take about 20 minutes to render on here. If I had a 20-minute video on here, it would take about 2 hours to render. So that's the performance difference is going to be crazy. And then the difference between this and this is going to be about 4 times. So this is going to be the first big upgrade for me in like literally a decade. So yeah, the heart of the machine, AMD Ryzen 9 3900X. Does it have all the advertising stuff on the back? Boom. Built it, performed to win. So I have always been an AMD guy. Since, matter of fact, this is already gonna be a long video, so I'm not necessarily worried about saving you guys much time. This will be for the nerds who actually care about this stuff. So this goes all the way back to, let's see, I have got an AMD, this is I think the one that immediately predated, yeah, the last build. This AMD Phenom 2 was in my desktop, so when I got rid of the desktop and the hardware was all antiquated, I tear out the processors. I say, like it's dramatic, I take the processors out just because it's I'm a nerd, and it's nice to have nerdy stuff. Was this the one before that? What is that? The Athlon 64, 2001. That other one was copyright 2008. This was my first 64-bit processor. And this was actually 2001. This was my first real PC build that I did, 2001. So I bought this in, I think, 2003. Or 2002 or 2003. It was my first year in college. And I went to college the end of 2002. This old one didn't come out of a computer that was mine. But anyway. And I've got a couple of old Intel chips, I think. So when I, not from computers that I had, but like my family's old computers. So just whenever I get I'm the family tech support. So whenever I get an old computer that's a throwaway, I tear out the processor. I am not going to be tearing the processor out of this bad boy because this desktop, I'm replacing every component down to the case. So this is still going to be a working machine. although I'm going back and forth between, my original idea was to let this sit and run as my dedicated Plex box. That's my hard drive storage system. So that is currently holding 6 3-terabyte hard drives set up in a RAID. I think it's a RAID 5. It's the Windows storage solution version of a RAID 5. So essentially there is, you know, a parity section in each part of the drive. So essentially you lose one entire drive worth of capacity so that you can lose any one drive in the array and still maintain your data. So that's that. So I'm going to keep all that together. I'm not tearing the brain out of that boy yet. I'm building this. This is not intended to be a gaming system, although it very, very much is capable. Hence getting the Radeon RX 570. This wasn't because I wanted to be loyal to AMD. This was because it was affordable and it's got 8 gigs of memory, and it had, so the performance for the money for what I needed it for, which is primarily for video editing and digital content. This is what I wanted to get. And, you know, the new, you know, 3000 series RTX cards and stuff like that are just not available at all. This card was like less than $200, so I'm not looking for, I just got PS5, Xbox Series X. I'm not looking to spend $500, $400, $500, $600 on a graphics card. So this is enough to be a significant upgrade for what I'm working with now. This is not intended to be a crazy gaming machine, although it is capable, if somewhere down the road, not too far down the road, if the 3000 series cards get back into stock, if I take like a 3080 and just slam it into this machine, this is going to be quite a beast, because I got 32 gigs of 3600 megahertz DDR4 memory. I've got, let's see, let's go ahead and just go through the boring parts first. 750 watt power supply. The Tough Gaming X570 Plus built-in Wi-Fi motherboard. I got an aftermarket cooler for the chip, just because I heard really good things about the NOCTUA NHD15, so I went ahead and got one of those to go with my new 3900X, just so I could make sure that I'm not running the stock cooler and just trying to get as much performance as I can. This old one, when the heat sink on that processor fan gave out a couple years back, it gave out in the middle of the night, and I needed to use the card, well, in the evening, in the middle of the night. And I couldn't like wait 2 days for Amazon to ship one, so I went to Best Buy, which broke my heart. But I bought an AIO, a Cooler Master all-in-one liquid cooler, and put it in there. And you know, as you guys can see, this thing is kind of running at max, and it sits at about 44 Celsius. So just that works good. I've heard good things about the NOCTUA. This is an air cooler, not a liquid cooler. Didn't think I needed to go straight for the AIO, and I've heard good things about this. So anyway, it's my cooling solution for the processor. This case, which of course I got an orange and black case. It just happened to be on sale, but in addition to just being a total Wheezy case, comes with one RGB fan already pre-installed. I bought a 3-pack of RGB fans so that I can get some good airflow in the case here. My operating system is going to be running on this, which is a 1 terabyte Gen 3 M.2 SSD. I didn't bother going for the Gen 4. I don't really need bleeding edge performance on that. And then as my primary faster storage drive, I got a 2 terabyte SATA SSD. So this will, I think I'm largely going to use this as like my capture and scratch disks for like doing editing, because like I said, right now the only SSD I really have other than my operating system. So the operating system on this computer, I upgraded about a year ago to a 1 terabyte SATA SSD. It was running on this 128, well, it says 120 gig, this 120 gig SSD. That's what, when I bought the system, when I set up that system, that was the SSD that it ran on, and that did me for a little while. I upgraded to a 1 terabyte SATA SSD. It's the main operating system drive for that. But other than that, it's hard drive storage in there. So that inside of the case, there are 3 1 terabyte hard drives set up in a RAID. So it's giving me 2 terabytes of storage on the 3 terabytes worth of drives, and then my larger one, because obviously at one point I had like 5 or 6 hard drives in this system. So when I started to expand past that, I got this. Well, actually I got a different enclosure, and I recently upgraded from a 4-bay enclosure to this, which holds 8, up to 8, I think. Anyway, so a lot of my bulk storage is still going to be hard drives. You know, like I said, that's a 6x3, 18 terabytes. So it really gives me about 15 usable terabytes of storage there. I guess I can just quickly show you guys the system as it's running now. I've got my operating system drive, 1 terabyte, 400 gigs free. My RAID, 3 terabyte RAID, so about 2 terabytes of storage. There's a lot of video that I need to delete on there. I just recently cleared off this external hard drive because that's what I'm actually currently backing up to, is this Passport drive. My photography drive is this 4 terabyte laptop external drive, so it's not an SSD, it's just a regular hard drive. That 4 terabyte photography drive, which is using up a bunch of space. My 3 terabyte RAID, which I haven't reset the computer since I upgraded the storage, so this is actually, like I said, it's about 15 terabytes of usable storage and an 18 terabyte storage space. Actually, if I open the storage spaces. Okay, I'm going to jump in right here. I'm talking about Microsoft storage spaces in here, and then after my build and I tried to get everything moved over, do not ever use Microsoft storage spaces. I lost not a huge amount of data because luckily the storage space that it completely destroyed, most of that was backed up, which was just an irritation that cost me hours and almost days to deal with. It almost did the same thing to my big array, which would have been pretty catastrophic. I managed to just barely squeak my data out of there. Don't use Microsoft storage spaces. I will, if any of you are interested, I will create another video where I give a more in-depth explanation of what I moved my RAID over to. I took it out of Microsoft storage spaces and I created essentially a RAID using Snap RAID in combination with a piece of software called Drive Pool. So I just want to jump in here. Don't use Microsoft storage spaces. If one of your drives starts to misbehave, Microsoft storage spaces will destroy all of your data. So instead of protecting you from a drive failure, it'll make it so that even if you lose a single drive, you might lose all of your data. Just don't. It'll show the true size of the array. It gets a little confused. So there's the 3 terabyte pool. And there's a bigger array, 10 terabytes of 16.3 terabyte pool capacity. So yeah, there's all those disks in that array. Anyway, so that's kind of the scale of the storage that I'm using right now. And then this SSD is, like I said, the one that I'm using to just shuttle footage back and forth to my laptop. I will not have to do that anymore with this bad boy. So that covers all of the components here. And yeah, so I'm still planning on it for now, using my 4K pass-through 1080p capture for game capture. I considered upgrading to a different capture device, but don't really need it right now for what I'm doing. And yeah, so that is the long, verbose, nerdy overview. And so now I'm going to switch over, set this up, and we're going to start building this thing. I'm just going to put together a little PC build montage instead of walking you guys through everything that I did. There are other people that do better PC build videos than I do, so this will show you kind of roughly what I did, but there are better videos for doing PC builds than I did. Okay, so that was the build part, getting everything hooked up. The next part I'm going to show you some little clips from is going to be the process that I went through using AOMEI to restore my old PC to my new PC, which I'll kind of fast forward through it, but long story short, it worked great. I had some weird issues with messing with a splitter to try and capture it, but I took an image of my old computer on completely different hardware using this software, took that image, loaded it into the new hardware, brand new motherboard, processor, graphics card, everything, and Windows started right up, and all of the tabs and everything that I had opened were already there. All of the software I had installed was already there. This is moving it from a different hard drive to I moved it from a 1 terabyte SSD, SATA SSD, to a 1 terabyte Intel M.2 SSD. Everything was completely different hardware, right? And it just works. So I'll kind of show you real briefly how that went, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. So we want to restore from an image file on our passport here. Restore the entire disk. That's the disk. And select the destination. We don't want it on the 2 terabyte SSD. We want it on the 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. So it's seeing both of those. Destination, source disk, destination disk. Look at that. The destination 1 terabyte M.2 is actually slightly larger than that one. So this universal restore, it is checked down here, and it says it allows you to restore the system to different or dissimilar hardware. If you restore system backup image created on different hardware, we recommend you tick this option. So that's what I am doing. That is the feature that I am counting on. If your destination disk is a SSD, we highly suggest you check the option, and it will accelerate the reading and writing speed for the solid state drive. Yeah, let's do that. Start the restore. Okay. Operation is completed successfully. Is this the moment of truth? Already? Let's see. Reloaded disks. This is interesting. Well, I'll be. Obviously the resolution is messed up because of the splitter still. An issue. If I can capture video games that are playing in 4K. Oh man, look, it's trying to start everything up. Everything's here. It's even trying to restore the tabs that I had open. It does. It has the tabs open and everything. It literally has... I mean, some things are failing because this is a completely different system, but... Oh wow, it still has the computer name set to copy, which could create some conflicts with my other computer, which is also still called copy. Okay, so that was, I mean, it took a little bit longer time. I cut down the amount of time it took to restore that image, but it worked perfectly. There are a couple things that I will note here that you need to do. The big one that I kind of struggled with a little bit is that you need to go in and completely strip out your old video drivers, especially if you're doing what I did, and I switched from my old hardware, which was running an NVIDIA graphics card, to a new video card that's an AMD graphics card. So I had issues getting the Radeon graphics drivers to work properly until I went and got a utility that completely strips out the old NVIDIA graphics drivers, and including the audio drivers. This is not a utility that is officially supported by NVIDIA, so you have to go look at, you can Google it, but it's essentially a third-party utility that completely removes video drivers. It's magic. So if you do something like this where you're moving to dissimilar hardware, make sure you strip out all your old video drivers. You pull out all your any drivers or software that are tied to your old hardware. Like I had an old wireless card. This motherboard has wireless built into it, so I had to uninstall the software that was related to, I didn't have to, it wasn't causing a problem, it was just there for no reason. So install the utilities for like your new motherboard, uninstall your old utilities for like your old one, because all that stuff just sits in Windows, and bingo bongo, everything's great. One other thing to notice is if you're on Windows, is that Windows will notice that you're on a new motherboard. It'll notice that your hardware has changed, and it will invalidate your old Windows license. This is another one of those anti-consumer things where I have a copy of Windows, and because I am getting rid of my old computer and updating to my new computer, Windows says, well, you've got to pay me again for your new computer, which, like I said, to an extent, I guess I get if they don't want you just taking your copy of Windows and installing it on a bunch of computers, but it is what it is. So you have to get a new license for your new machine. You can't transfer the old one over because it's tied to your old existing hardware ID. But other than that, I'm on it right now. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do is roll in a little video that I captured the other day, basically when I had a bunch of stuff running on my computer at the same time. I'm going to kind of talk you through what the computer's doing in that video, and that should be it. That everything's up and running and good to go. So let's go switch over to that video, and I'll talk you through it a little bit. Okay, so let me kind of just talk through what's going on here. I captured this off of my computer. This about a week or so after I was done downloading it. So I'm playing Forza. This is a capture from OBS. I was playing Forza 7, and I had a whole bunch of stuff on my computer, and I was like, man, I ought to like get a capture of this. So at the same time I'm using OBS and playing Forza, I'm also running a video render of one of my episodes of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm watching a video on YouTube, Linus Tech Tips. Like I said, there's better PC build videos than I have. And so you can see I'll zoom in on some things here as I'm opening it up, but I'm bringing up the task manager in the top right corner there of my right hand screen. It shows like all of my clock speeds, this AMD CPU, all 12 clocks are running at 4 gigahertz. It's my video card's there. So let me describe this. I'm getting a little giddy because of all of this. So I run 3 screens. I've got a 1080p 120 hertz screen, 2 4K 60 hertz screens, and they're all being run at the same time while also rendering and displaying a YouTube video in HD and rendering out a game on Vegas I render out to 1080p, but it's rendering that out at essentially real time and also doing an OBS capture all at the same time. And my CPU utilization is 60-something%. My memory usage is 20 gigs out of the 32 I have in the system. I'm also in that top right corner there, downloading an entire YouTube channel, archiving one. I told you guys I was archiving my own YouTube channel. I was archiving this other channel on the suggestion of the channel owner, so it's not me being all creepy and stuff about it. But yeah, this is what this new computer's capable of. Whereas in my old one, I had to copy video files off onto my laptop so that I could render preview files and then bring them back to edit them. I can do everything at the same time on this computer, and it's a friggin' breeze. So here was me just being like, oh, look at that, my computer can do all these things. So this with the one thing that is not necessarily super beefy, which is the video card, the RX 570 or whatever, which isn't bad, but other than that, this thing is a beast. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It did go on a bit, actually. On the timeline right now, it's at about 30 minutes. So considering it was like a 2 or 3 day project for me dealing with issues that were unrelated to the build itself, but trying to capture things, I couldn't be more happy with this thing. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you want me to expand on anything in particular, let me know. If you guys thought this was worth all of the nerdy time that it took, send me a like. If you guys are new around here, subscribe. Decided all my Wheezy's minions, you're not a minion until you're subscribed. So join Wheezy's minions, subscribe, and stick around. I got more stool. I got more stool coming. I got more cool stuff coming, and it's not stool. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.